It's strange how an ordinary night can turn into the worst moment of your life without any warning. People talk about trauma like it comes in slow motion, but mine arrived at exactly 10:55 p.m., June 6th, 2014, inside the Oxford Road McDonald's in Manchester, a place I'd worked at for almost a year, a place where nothing more dramatic than a spilled milkshake had ever happened. And yet, that night, everything changed. My name is Emily. I was 20 years old, tired, a little stressed, counting down the last 5 minutes of my shift. I remember wiping the counter, humming along to some pop song playing over the speakers. I remember thinking more about my bed than my job. I remember the smell of fries that had been sitting out too long. And I remember, more clearly than anything, the sound of the door slamming open. It wasn't the usual sound of customers coming in. It was violent, sharp, loud enough to stop conversations mid-sentence. I looked up, and my blood turned to ice. 3 masked men walked in, one in front, one behind him, one by the door. And the one in front was carrying a shotgun. You never forget the shape of a gun pointed toward you. It doesn't matter that I'd never seen one in real life before. My brain recognized it instantly. And my body reacted instantly. I dropped the cloth I was holding, my breath sucked itself out of my lungs, and my legs, before I could even think, threw me to the ground behind the counter. I don't remember choosing to hide. I only remember the fear, the kind that grabs your spine and squeezes. I crawled into the cramped space between the drink machine and the wall. It smelled like syrup and burnt sugar. The tiles were freezing against my knees. I folded myself as small as possible, hands shaking over my head, heart pounding so loudly I was afraid they would hear it. Then the shouting started. "Open the till, now!" The gunman's voice sounded young, too young, cracking with panic. Another voice, nervous, high-pitched, yelled, "Hurry up!" Someone screamed. A chair fell over. Kids were crying. A man near the window whispered, "Please, God," over and over. The robber behind the counter landed so badly when he jumped that he knocked down an entire stack of trays. They clattered violently across the floor, echoing like gunshots. The noise made me curl tighter into myself. A part of me genuinely believed the next sound I would hear would be the blast of the shotgun. I kept telling myself, don't look up, don't make a noise, don't breathe too loud, don't die. Not here, not like this. But my curiosity betrayed me, because through the tiny gap between the drink machine and the counter, I could see the robber's shadow on the tiles, pacing, twitching, shifting anxiously, the shadow of someone holding a gun they didn't fully know how to use. The till wasn't opening, and I knew why. At McDonald's, every register automatically logs after each transaction. You need a manager code to open it again. The robbers didn't know that, and their panic exploded. "Why won't it open? Hit it harder. Just open it." Their voices were shaking, and somehow that made them even more terrifying. I pressed my palms over my ears, but it didn't block anything out. I could still hear the clanking metal as the robber tried to lift the entire drawer out with both hands. I could hear the shotgun scraping as the gunman shifted his grip. I could hear my own heartbeat thumping against the floor tile. For a terrifying moment, I thought, what if he gets frustrated and shoots? What if he thinks the customers are stalling? What if he comes looking behind the counter and finds me? My throat tightened so painfully I thought I was choking. Every instinct in my body was screaming, "Don't move." Then something changed. The gunman's voice, once loud and sharp, became frantic. "Forget it! We're leaving! Go!" And just like that, they ran. All three of them, straight out the door, across Oxford Road, disappearing into the dark of Denmark Road. Silence followed. A horrible, suffocating silence. No one knew if they were coming back. No one dared to stand. No one dared to speak. I didn't move until a customer whispered shakily, "They're gone. They're gone." But even then, my legs refused to work. When I finally tried to stand, they buckled under me. I had to hold on to the counter to stay upright. The police arrived within minutes. Blue lights flashing against the restaurant windows, officers rushing in, guns drawn, ordering everyone to stay still until the scene was secured. Detective, who later spoke to the press, told us we were incredibly lucky that no one was injured. He said the customers had been petrified, which was an understatement. And then he reviewed the CCTV. Seeing the freeze frame of that shotgun pointed toward the counter, toward me, sent a cold wave through my entire body. The detective repeated over and over that the robbers were clearly amateurs, that they had no idea what they were doing, that their incompetence probably saved our lives. But his words didn't comfort me, because all I could think was, even amateurs can pull a trigger. Even amateurs can kill someone. Even idiots with guns are still people with guns. When the police left, the manager asked if I needed to stay in the office to calm down, but I just wanted to leave. I couldn't be in that building for another second. I couldn't look at the counter without remembering the barrels of that shotgun. I called my sister. I didn't even tell her what happened. My voice was shaking too much, just begged her to come get me. When she arrived, I fell apart the moment I sat in her car. That night, I packed a bag. The next day, I left Manchester. For a month, maybe longer, I couldn't be alone. I couldn't walk into any fast food place. Couldn't stand in front of a counter. Couldn't hear a loud noise without flinching or dropping whatever I was holding. People always imagine robberies as chaotic, quick events, something that ends as soon as the criminals run away. But the truth is, it keeps happening inside your head long after the actual moment is over. The fear doesn't leave with them. It stays. It follows you. It gets into your sleep. It shows up in grocery stores, on buses, in crowded rooms, anywhere someone stands too close behind you. Even now, years later, I still avoid Oxford Road. And on the rare occasion I pass that McDonald's, every muscle in my body tenses up. My heartbeat speeds up. My palms sweat. My mind flashes back to the cold tiles, the smell of fryer oil, the crack of that tray stack hitting the floor. The shotgun. Always the shotgun. Most people will forget the 2014 Manchester McDonald's robbery. To them, it was just another failed crime, a news story that came and went. But to me, it wasn't a headline. It was the night I truly believed I might die. The night a part of my innocence was ripped away. The night that changed the way I see strangers, loud noises, and crowded rooms forever.